Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome back to another live stream on the channel. Enzo Maresca has officially left Leicester City. We're not going to beat around the bush. We've already discussed it. So we're going to get straight on to discussing a potential replacement. And one man who seems to be at the top of Leicester's shortlist right now, he's at least top of the on the bets, is West Bromwich Albion's manager, Carlos Corberan. So, yeah, today we're going to be good having an in-depth look on Carlos Corberan, his tactics, what he could bring to Leicester, what type of manager he is. Because personally, Carlos Corberan is my favourite. So we'll have a look through him. Then we'll discuss a bit more around the Enzo Maresca stuff. There has been a few bits coming out today. Jamie Vardy looking to be staying at Leicester for at least another year as well, which is fantastic news. Obviously, we'll be discussing potential replacements for the next couple of weeks. But just before we look at Carlos Corberan, the main thing is that Leicester need to act quickly now. Maresca's done. It's all done. It's been officially announced. It was announced at 3 o'clock today. Now Leicester need to make sure we get someone in within the next 3 weeks or so, because yes, there's a long way until the season starts. The season starts in the middle of August. We only got Enzo middle of June last season, so we've still got a long way to go. But with the Euros, you don't want to leave it too long. You want to get a manager in before pre-season starts, so they can tell the scouts what type of players they want. We can get on top of the transfers and then get going. Because look, Enzo had lots of time when he first joined, and we start the season off fantastically well. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Carlos Corberan, who you guys want as well in the chat. I know it's going to split debate. Some people will want David Moyes. We just want to stay up. We want to be organised. But part of me wants to stay as close as we can to the Enzo Maresca style, because I just think the way football's going, it's getting played in the same sort of way. And Carlos Corberan, for me, is a very exciting manager. So it comes down to that debate, which I sure we'll discuss a lot over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, let's get into the chat just before we get into the tactics. Evening, Gray. Hope you're doing all right. Fatu signing 2 as well. Yeah, that was confirmed in the John Percy article. We'll go for that article in about 20 minutes or so. Welcome to the stream. Really want Carlos over the other candidates. His style of play seems the most attractive, and it works as well. 100%. It's pretty dire what happened. Yeah, exactly that. And look, there's some candidates in there who I think the whole fan base doesn't want, like Oscar Garcia. But at the end of the day, if they do come in, we have got to back them until there's a reason not to. So that's the way. But yeah, let's get into it then. Carlos Corberan then. So West Brom manager, as we know, this came from John Percy, which is the most reliable guy around Leicester news. So he'll cost us around 3.5 to 4 million, which could be a deterrent. I don't get that, because we just received 10 million from Chelsea for Enzo Maresca and the staff. On that, of course, 6 of the backroom staff have left Leicester for Chelsea. That includes Willy Caballero, the goalkeeping coach, the fitness coach as well, and a couple more. So yeah, but the Spaniard fits the criteria. So yeah, a bit of background on Carlos Corberan. So he was actually at Leeds under Marcelo Bielsa, which I think is quite important. He was their under-21 manager for a little bit. I don't know why it keeps doing that. And was the assistant manager at Leeds United under Marcelo Bielsa. He then went to Huddersfield, where he did a fantastic job. He had a pretty poor squad there. He got Huddersfield to a playoff final against Forest, if he cast your minds back to that, and were very unlucky not to get promoted due to some dodgy VAR. Then he went to Olympiacos. Only lasted there for 11 games, but apparently fell out with the owner, which obviously is the Forest owner as well, interesting enough. And of course, now he is at West Bromwich Albion. He's been at West Brom for a total of 84 games so far, and he's done a fantastic job in my opinion. Obviously, West Brom have now got new owners, but before that, he was running on extremely limited resources. I don't think they actually managed to sign anybody. It was just loan players. His first season, he took them from the relegation zone all the way up into 7th, missing out on the playoffs by a point, I think it was, on the last day. Obviously, this season he got West Brom into 5th. Did a decent job. Didn't play well in the semi-final against Southampton, but of course Southampton, very, very good team. So personally, if you just look at that, yes, he hasn't got any Premier League experience, but I still think he has got quite a lot of experience, and he's been in tough situations, and he's done well with poor teams. He's been, he has been to Olympiacos, albeit for 11 games, but that's still a fairly big club at a European stage. And I think working under someone like Marcelo Bielsa is massive for development. But yeah, we'll get into his tactics in just one moment. Cordy Fox says 100%. We still got to get behind the boys. Corberan plays a good way, and more importantly, it's quite similar to how Enzo plays. Right, Jeremy, hope you're doing all right. Fofana. Yeah, it's one of them, really, mate. It's one of them. I personally, I want to just not talk about Enzo until the last 10 minutes of the stream, because I think now we just have to move on, because look, there's nothing we can do about it. He's gone. He probably won't last for 5 years, or he definitely won't last for 5 years, because no one does at Chelsea. And look, realistically, Enzo's gone there. His pay's probably tripled. He'll get a fat pay check when eventually he gets sacked. So yeah. I think Corberan is a good shout. Just annoying he has no Prem experience and he needs to hit the ground running immediately. Otherwise, we're done after a couple of weeks, 100%. Reckon Carlos has a good voice in the dressing room as well. The players seem to really buy stuff. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the last 2 hours I've been looking in depth at Carlos Corberan, and honestly, the more I look at him, the more I want him. So let's get into it. SPORTSA turns into a tactician at the minute. So yeah, let's get into it. I just need to find the right tab because we've got multiple up. So yeah, we'll start off with this one then. So Carlos Corberan and his tactics for West Bromwich Albion. So yeah, if you're just joining, this is going to be an in-depth look on Corberan. I'll probably do this on a few managers such as David Moyes, Graham Potter over the next couple of days as well. But yeah, first of all then, high press. Extremely high press from Carlos Corberan's side. If I get my notes out quickly, in terms of the mid block, which is the block you see most, it is a 4-4-2, which is very similar to what Leicester did. The strikers obviously come in deep, and it's a flat midfield, and it's very rigid. We'll talk about the midfield later, but in terms of West Brom, their two holding midfielders in the double pivot are absolutely pivotal. So if he did come to Leicester, it'd be interesting to see who potentially played there. It probably would be Harry Winks alongside someone else, but you want someone who's a bit more defensively suited. So maybe Wilfred and Dilly. But yeah, in terms of the high press, they press very high with the two strikers. As you can see, obviously these images are from the game against Leicester. So, and yeah, if you cast your minds back to the West Brom games this season, two very tough games, and we were lucky to get wins in both of them. So yeah, in terms of that, high pressing suits us very nicely as well. The press triggers are whenever the two centre-backs who get the ball and the goalkeeper as well. So they go for a man-to-man press, which is quite similar to how Leicester operated last season under Enzo Maresca. In terms of so we looked at the high mid block. As you can see, if you go a bit further back, it's obviously a flat three midfield here, and then you got the strikers tucking in to make it very condensed and narrow. So, but yeah, that's quite typical of Championship teams and Premier League teams as well. But yeah, if you go down to the low block. So yeah, as you can see there, that 4-4-2, that's how it would be in terms of defensively. You know, and obviously this season, Leicester are going to be defending a lot. So I think it's pivotal we get a manager who has his ways and knows how to defend it. You know, we'll talk about the stats a bit later. But West Brom's goalkeeper, I don't like using XG, but he had the lowest XG in terms of shots faced this season. So that's always a positive. But yeah, low block. This is very key. Look how narrow that is. So you got all 10 outfield players in the space of about 10, 20 yards. That's the whole team, incredibly narrow. So you got the flat back four, you got the midfield, and then you got the two strikers. So that's how it could be, especially when Leicester play against a top team, the Man City, the Arsenal, whatsoever. You play like that, it's difficult for anybody to break it down, and Leicester found it difficult. And obviously, we grabbed the goals in the second half late on. But yeah, that's how it could be defensively. Very tight, very, very, very narrow, and it's difficult to play against. They look to restrict the ball into the middle and force players out wide. And when it does go out wide, a key characteristic of Carlos Corberan's side is that the fullback and the winger doubles up on the attacking winger. So, let's say for Leicester, Fatawu or Mawadidi's down here, you're going to have the fullback and the winger, these two coming over to try and double up. And obviously, Leicester try to force James Justin to go down there to obviously double up again. So, yeah, it forces the other team to play a different way. And I think that's what we need to do next season. We need to just make sure defensively we're rigid, we're solid, we're tough to play against. And, you know, if Leicester can sort that out, we can get results. Because I just think, in terms of our attack, it's more than good enough to score goals. So, yeah, let's jump back into the chat. But so far, defensively, I think Carlos Corberan's a very good manager overall, and offensively, it is a big plus of his game because I think in terms of attack, he just likes to have his attack kind of free flowing. So if you can get that defense right and that structure right, you'll win games. Because look, let's face it, you know, if you're keeping clean sheets, I don't know what that is. You're more likely to score goals and win games. So that's how you have to be next season. Because at times this season we have been very open defensively. Yeah, agreed after 7 months. Yeah, 100%. 10 mil will help. Yeah, exactly that. And obviously that is one counter of this. If Leicester do want to get Carlos Corberan, we are going to have to pay for him. So some people will obviously sit and say, look, we can get David Moyes, Steve Cooper for free. And I wouldn't be against David Moyes, not so much Steve Cooper. That is another discussion for a later video. But yeah, obviously that is the one downside to getting Carlos Corberan. People saying about Potter, but I've heard nothing about him looking to join us. Seems like, yeah, it's all paper talk. The only ones which have been discussed by reliable sources is Carlos Corberan and David Moyes. There was Ben Jacobs said a few hours ago that Leicester are interested in David Moyes and Carlos Corberan. So yeah. We're used to high press. The counter attack is the problem. Yeah, it's true. We do have to be adaptable next season. And Corberan is, from what I've looked at, very good low block indeed. His defensive play gives Dutch Burnley vibes, really solid. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we have to be like that. Next season, Leicester have to be horrible to play against. Be to be that horrible team. No one wants to play against us. That's what we're going to have to be. And look, it's not going to be fun to watch from the stands, and some fans won't like it. But if it gets results, it gets results. And for me, next year, as much as I do want the project, and this is where it draws the line. Do we want David Moyes for 1 year just to get us done? Or do we want someone like Corberan who could be in it for long term? But the risk is you get Corberan now and it doesn't work, and then there's no chance of that long-term project. So, yeah, it is tough. It is tough. But let's have a look at how Corberan likes to operate going forward then, because we've spent a long time looking at the defence. So let's look at the notes once again. So, yeah, in terms of the attack then, let's keep going down. So yeah, this is kind of how it works in terms of the back line. So instead of obviously Ricardo coming inside, it kind of shuffles over, and the fullback, if I scroll up a little bit, the fullback on the left side goes extremely high, and Connor Townsend here pretty much joins up with Phillips. In terms of from goal kicks, the centre backs go wide, just as Leicester have done this season. That kind of creates a box formation. So you've got the two centre backs. Then you got the two holding midfielders here in Mo and Cheslea. And just like I said, them two midfielders are absolutely pivotal, because if them two aren't good, it doesn't work. So yeah, it's an interesting way, and it obviously, and just like I said earlier, it just creates some overloads outside, and I just think it would suit our team so much, because look, Leicester's best players are arguably our midfield, our wide players, Fatu and Steffi Mabadidi, in my opinion. So if we can maximise them with this type of thing, it's just going to reap the rewards. And you got players such as, look, I'm looking at Victor Christensen. As much as I don't think he'd come back, I think he'd suit the role of this fullback as Connor Townsend does to an absolute T. So I think, yeah, it has benefits. I think James Justin could do that role slightly. Ricardo as well. And, you know, if you talk about Ricardo, could Ricardo Pereira play as one of these the two midfielders in that double pivot? Potentially. And obviously, as you can see, the fullback from the other side comes in and tucks across when obviously you go down the opposite flank. So I do like that. And look, it's very free-flowing. So if we scroll down a bit further, I won't play these clips because of copyright, but just type in on Google Carlos Corberan tactics and you can get all of this. It's a very, very good insight. So yeah, just like I said, as you can see, it's kind of a stretch box. You got the two centre backs here. So let's say Yannick Vestergaard, Wout Faz. You got the two midfielders here, potentially Winks and Ricardo, which is kind of similar to how Leicester have played. And that's what I mean. The elements of his style are so similar to what Leicester have played with this season. So obviously that helps because Dewsbury, if the ball goes there, Dewsbury is going to be forced up there and they can play it into midfield. It's basic stuff, isn't it? But yeah, I think it's very effective. Risky at times, of course, but yeah, obviously, as you can see, the midfield player drops in quite deep as well. So it's going to be key next season if we do get Corberan to get two midfielders who are very comfortable on the ball, but can also win the ball back a lot. And that's why I think if you play Winks and Ricardo, yes, they're good on the ball, but defensively, I don't think Winks is the best midfielder defensively, and that's potentially why I could do someone with someone who's slightly more robust. You've got Boubakary Soumaré, but then again, I just think every time he seems to play for Leicester, he just seems that second off it in terms of the pace. So if we did operate with, because I think Soumaré could fit this role quite nicely, but you just have to speed up the player a tiny bit. So, but yeah, as you can see, look, you break through them lines and then you are off and going. Comes out to the fullback, the wingers comes forward to correct them overloads once again, and since then. Look, you're in. As soon as you break the press, just like any type of team, the amount of space the midfielders have got here, Leicester are forced back heavily, and you've got all this space to run in. As you can see, that overload from the two wide players down here, and obviously you can stretch the play and go out to the other flank. So yeah, I think it's very, very interesting, Carlos Corberan's philosophy. And as you can see, it's that box formation there. And obviously for Leicester, it was slightly different because you had the box that one step advanced with the two midfielders in kind of these positions. But in terms of Corberan, it's that one step backwards, which I think would work in the Premier League when obviously you are coming up against tough teams. But yeah, that is Corberan attacking pretty much. Let me just have a quick look at my notes just to see if I've got anything else. Make sure to let me know thoughts in the chat. But yeah, pretty sure. Striker drops deep. And yeah, and pretty much the key bit about it player-wise is them two midfielders. In terms of West Brom, you had Mo and OKU Kushli, I think it is, his name is. Yeah, so you've got to be strong on the ball, off the ball. And yeah, I think them two are pivotal to how you play. But yeah, let's get back into the chat. 100% agree, Gray. I hope the board don't piss around with this. I'll make the decision soon, though. This is good. Yeah, 100%. I think, and yeah, and that's the thing. If Leicester leave it too late, if you're trying to approach a manager who's already in a club like Corberan a few weeks before the season, he's never going to go. And I think Corberan is going to be tough to get him because, look, he's been at West Brom playing this well with such limited resources. West Brom have now got a new owner who's going to invest into the club. Corberan's probably sat there, and part of him is thinking, look, one more season, I've got a good chance of getting this side promoted. The Championship was ultra competitive last season. Look, you got Sheffield United going down, who I don't think will do that well next season. Burnley, who will definitely be up there. And obviously Luton, who, they're all known because they were also poor last season. So I think teams like West Brom have got a very good chance of going up. So I think it is going to be hard to get Corberan because, look, as well, Leicester it's not that attractive right now. You've got a hefty points deduction, which is still unknown. So is Corberan going to want to leave West Brom, come to Leicester, be on -8 before the season's even started? Don't really know how much backing he's going to get from the board. So it's difficult. It's really difficult. And that's why I think getting someone like David Moyes could be, is another point of view. So it's tough. But I think if you're looking at the managers, David Moyes, Potter, Carlos Corberan, Steve Cooper, etc., Corberan is the best manager tactically by an absolute country mile. So I just think, look, he's at West Brom. He's done this good of a job. I think in the Premier League with Leicester with much better players, I think he can maximise it. Dortmund, I don't know if that's could be out of my price range a bit. I think Hamza. I think that's true. That's true, Gray. Yeah, that all managers do want Prem. That is right. I think with Hamza Chowdhury, I don't know. I don't think so. I think Hamza would still be a good option for Leicester from the bench next season, and there will be a video discussing the whole squad, which I'm going to go through later. That should be out the next couple of days. I'm going to do a keep or so. But in terms of Chowdhury, I don't know if he would fit that role. I think defensively 100%, but on the ball, I don't know. I don't know with Chowdhury because I just think at times he's out of position a lot as well. And I think them two midfielders need to know exactly what they're doing. They have to be well drilled, experienced in the Premier League. And yeah, Hamza does have experience, but personally for me, if with the squad we have right now, I would do it with Rinks and Ricardo, but it would mean that the two centre backs need to be very aggressive. And to be fair, Fast and Yannick Vestergaard this season were very aggressive, so it could well do work. Could work. Yeah, I agree. I think he's on that borderline, but with Chowdhury, I think I would keep him. I would keep him because look, he is a senior member of the Leicester squad. He's been at Leicester for his whole football career, hasn't he? He obviously had that loan spell at Watford, but it depends on Chowdhury. Look, the board can say to Chowdhury, you're not going to play every single game. You'll be involved. You'll play cup games. You'll come off the bench, but if I was Chowdhury, I'd probably want to move on because I think he's more than good enough to play week in, week out Championship standard. But it depends on his career. So it's a tough decision for Hamza next season, I think. And he is a player who could obviously help with the PSR. He's a homegrown player as well. So for whatever fee it is, which is going to be limited, it's maximum profit for Leicester. And obviously that's why there's been so much talk about Dewsbury going because, look, he's came through the academy. For whatever fee Leicester sell him, it's complete profit for us, which helps massively. Gaffer's going to ask for a player that can play DM, and we're going to get a Marty. Imagine if that fraud comes back. Jesus. But yeah, one last little bit then on tactics. I don't want to bore you guys too much, but I did spend a while researching it, so I want to go through it as much as I can. If we look at some of in terms of set pieces, I want to touch on set pieces. West Brom scored a lot from set pieces, and I can't remember the last time Leicester have looked very threatening from set pieces. Obviously, we had Madison a few years ago, who was obviously good from dead ball shooting wise, but like corners and whatnot. When's the last time Leicester have we scored a few this season, but I can't remember the last time Leicester have been like really, really good at set pieces. Obviously, West Brom have got long throwers as well. Can't remember his name. He's I think he's a forward. I think it's Furlong. I think. But yeah, if you look at this bit down here, West Brom scores most of their goals from transitions and set pieces, which I think is key this season. Because look, let's face it, Leicester aren't going to be dominating games. We can with this style at times, but especially when Leicester come up against the top 10 teams, you like Villa, your Newcastle's of the top 6 as well. We're not going to dominate games, so we have to make the most of our chances. And from this, look, West Brom have scored goals from transition set pieces, and at times that's how West Brom do get into them attacking plays in terms of the formation, in terms of the overloads out wide. It's just from transitions and catching teams off guard. So, you know, it's of course this system under Corberan is a system which has to be worked on week after week after week, and that's why I think it's so important to get him in the first opportunity and get Corberan training with the lads first day of pre-season and trying to get this across, because look, it's going to take time to implement it. Yeah, West Brom has led them to create cutback opportunities with short passes and combinations in wide positions, fairly similar to what Leicester do. And, you know, I think with the players at Leicester's disposal, maximise it 100%. Stephanie, Abdul, probably our best players-ish. So, got to maximise it. Fullbacks as well. This leads to... And look, obviously, of course, there's going to be problems with it. The fullbacks offer as much... that neither fullback offers much threat high and wide. I don't really get why they put that, because a minute ago they showed Connaughton. I don't know about that. The wingers also struggle in isolated 2-versus-1s, but have shown themselves to be dangerous in one-on-one situations. And look, I keep saying, I say look a lot. I'm saying look loads today, aren't I? But that's evident of every single winger, really. Look, I said it again. Most wingers are going to struggle in them 2v1 situations. It's just a given. But if you can get them to that 1v1, get the fullbacks high and wide, you can do it. And that's why I'm really thinking of potentially of Victor Christensen next season, because obviously he did well at Bologna under Motta, but Motta is now the Juventus manager. So it's 50 million, I think it is. Is the new manager going to take Victor Christensen? Personally, I'll take him back, because I think he's a very good player. And, you know, if we can find him a position, I'll take him back in open arms. Because yes, this season he was, you know, committed to leave Leicester, but he was signed to be an attacking player. Enzo wanted to play him inside, so I don't really blame him. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, set pieces this year have been absolutely disgraceful, really. So it's definitely something we can improve on, and that's the thing. Like, look, this season, look, we played some fantastic football, passing football, etc. Next season, we are going to have that. So when Leicester do get the odd corner here and there, we need to make the most of it. So I think it's an area we have to be good. We have to be looking at, and you know, Carlos Corberan looks to be decent from set piece positions. So yeah, boys and girls, I think that's probably where we're going to leave it tactically on Corberan. So let's take a look at Enzo Maresca then quickly for the last few minutes of today's stream. I'll probably go on for a bit longer. So actually, yeah, interesting enough, I want you guys to get involved in the chat. There's 10 of you lot in here. Who do you want? Who do you want? Let's take it from this list here then, from Fossub. Corberan, sorry, I don't think it's going to happen. Graham Potter and Ruud van Nistelrooy. If you want to go with someone like David Moyes as well, feel free. But let me know in the chat, one name, who do you want? Simple as that. I'm going to stick my vote in, Corberan. So, yeah, look at that. Look, that's interesting. 1,500 votes. Very split. Corberan, so yeah, on this, Graham Potter is actually the favourite. Sorry, I think I'd definitely take him, but he's definitely not going to come. Van Nistelrooy is an interesting one. not much experience, but Van Nistelrooy would be a nice name to come in, and I think players would definitely join. But we do need experience. He was obviously did well at PSV, but that is about it. In terms of Potter, I would not be against Graham Potter at all for Leicester. I think he's fairly similar to Enzo-ish, so I wouldn't be against it. And look, Leicester have approached Potter before in the past. Obviously, he did reject us, but I don't really blame him for that because, well, let's face it. Look, he had the Brighton job and the Chelsea job all in the same season. I think that Chelsea job took a lot out of him, so I don't blame him at all for not coming to Leicester when we were deep in a relegation battle. And Potter's took it's almost 2 years now out of management. So if he's up to it, bring him in. I wouldn't be against it at all. No, I don't think so. But I wouldn't be against it, to be fair. And obviously, from that list, it's not including the likes of David Moyes, Steve Cooper, who, look, some of our fans would be interested in. Particularly the older generation, I think, who obviously prefer to be more rigid and play more basic football. So I think it will split the fan base. David Moyes, boys, in the chat. Boys and girls, sorry. Yes or no? Yes or no to David Moyes at Leicester City next season? What are we thinking? Because, look, David Moyes is one of the ones getting linked to us, if I can find the tweet quickly. Professional as always, trying to find stuff as we go on. So, yeah, this is from Foss Hub. Once again, actually, I get everything from this. So, yeah, Leicester City have interest in David Moyes and Carlos Corberan, but Leicester have problems paying the compensation. That's from Ben Jacobs, so fairly reliable. He usually gets stuff quite bang on. So, yeah, David Moyes. I completely agree. I wouldn't say no. He's not my, he's not my favourite. He's not my. I put him third really behind Potter and Corberan. But in terms of trying to stay up next season, which is what we want, surely, I think David Moyes would be a good option. Gray agrees as well. Won the Conference League with West Ham, been harshly treated. He's proved, yeah, he is, and that's what I mean. Look, David Moyes, he's not going to play this passing style, and that's my only negative really, because I don't want to stray too much away from how Leicester have been playing this season, because the players are so used to it. If you play with David Moyes' ball, Ricardo's going to go back to a bombing on fullback, which I don't think is the end of the world because he's very good at it. But and it's just gonna, I don't know, he could create some problems. But look, he's very experienced, the most experienced manager we could probably get right now. He's going to be free of charge for Leicester. Helps us with PSR, as Jerry said. Look, he's won the Conference League with West Ham. He's got European football 3 years in a row, which is not easy at all. As Leicester have shown us. So, and yeah, I think he would come in. He'd make us strong defensively. He'll sort us out. He'll play some proper Brexit football, and he'll make us hard to beat. So part of me does want David Moyes. But part of me as well, just watching last season with Enzo Ball, I thought it was fascinating to watch the process, and I would like something quite similar. And I think, if you watch it from afar, it's very good to watch. And at times, yes, it was boring and whatnot, but it was effective. And I just think people who said Enzo Ball was boring, David Moyes' ball is going to be fairly boring as well. But then again, he does like to counter attack, and I think Leicester is suited to that as well. So I think in terms of the players we've got, they suit both styles really, which is always a positive, because I just think the pace we have going forward and defensively, we've got players who can be that bit more rigid. Because obviously under Enzo, we played a very high line, and we were slightly vulnerable at times defensively. And I think if David Moyes came in, he would shore it up, but hopefully would still allow us to be good going forward. West Ham overachieving and they sack him, strange. Yeah, I just think West Ham wanted a change. Look, the fans were getting on the backs of him a bit, and I think the owners there kind of just reacted a bit more to the fans. But look, it wasn't pretty football there, so maybe West Ham just probably wanted a change. Yeah, spot on. And I think you can say that about Corberan really, because look, it's pretty similar. So it's that fine risk really, and I think it comes down to this in terms of what the manager let Leicester appoint. It's going to come down to this question: stability playing the same style. I think that's all it comes down to. Last season we had more freedom of risk because we had such a good squad. It was a given that Leicester were going to be up there. And I think Leicester, we could afford to make a risk. We brought in Enzo Maresca, albeit had zero managerial experience apart from a short stint at Parma and obviously being Pep's assistant. So, but now this season, we can't afford to take such a risk because if it backfires, we're doomed. Because look, this time next year, we could be sat back in the Championship. We would not be able to retain any of the good players we have, and Leicester could really start to be going backwards, depending on the financial stuff as well. So it is a big decision for the club. And look, if Leicester get Corberan, it works out. We'll be sat here in 12 months' time saying what an appointment, because Corberan could then progress us. If it doesn't work, we'll just be saying should have got someone like David Moyes. So Top's got a big decision to make. Massive decision to make. It's obvious. Obviously, it is. But I think now even more so, it's absolutely critical who could top John Rudkin. I don't know why he's still in charge. But who they bring in, because I just think in terms of next season, it's going to be one of the biggest. And look, obviously, it's going to be a big challenge trying to stay up. I don't think it'll be 15 points, but it's going to be at least 6 to 8. And on paper, that's only 2 wins, but it's hard to do next season. And the Premier League is very competitive right now. Staying up is paramount, 100%. Nothing more. If we become 17, stay up with 21 points. I don't care really. I don't think that. I think next season is going to be quite. It's going to be higher than this season in terms of the points needed to stay up. I think it'll be back towards 35. I think the 40-point mark's a long way gone now, because you've got teams who are doing so well. You've got teams like Crystal Palace who have already made a few signings. They've ended the season fantastically. They'll be pushing top 10 next season. On the flip side of that, you got teams like Brentford, Brighton, who I think will be down there next season. Honestly, depending on who Brighton bring in. So yeah, the manager merry-go-round is going to be interesting, and there's still a lot of managers out of work. I think Steve Cooper rejected Burnley, I believe. So is he waiting on a move to Leicester? I think he would join us 100%. It works out for him. I assume he still lives in Nottingham, down the road from Seagrave. So looking like a point deduction will send us down potentially. But honestly, look, the points deduction or not, it's going to come. We can't stop it. There's nothing Leicester can do about it. I kind of hope it inspires the players a bit more to say, yes, we've got this -8 or whatever, but it could give them that added boost to really try and get over the line. And look, I want to try and stay as positive as possible. Some people right now in the situation, look, Enzo's gone. It's all doom and gloom. But if Leicester can get this right, there's still a good chance. Still a good chance we can stay on. Imagine Man City, Liverpool, also first 3 games. First game will be Chelsea, 100%. 100%. It'll be Chelsea way, Friday night in London. Enzo versus Leicester. You can guarantee it. Talking on Enzo then a little bit more. I think we should take a look at the article which was released from John Percy today on the Telegraph. So courtesy of Foss Hub as always, if I can find it. This one was quite interesting. Quite interesting. So Leicester obviously delivered a fairly interesting statement at 3 o'clock today after obviously Chelsea confirmed it was official. So yeah, Leicester City are frustrated with Enzo Maresca leaving on the first opportunity. Maresca informed Leicester's board, including owner Top, that he was happy to stay. He rejected offers, as we know, from Sevilla and Porto because he was focused on staying in the Premier League. Obviously, look, Enzo rejected the pre-season plans, and from then we all thought, yeah, he's clearly going to stay. He's already planning for pre-season. But as it comes, Chelsea obviously sat Pochettino, which I still didn't get why they did that. Obviously Chelsea made the approach last week, and it soon became inevitable that Enzo Maresca would be leaving Leicester City. And obviously Maresca was on holiday. That's why it's taken so long. But all these things take a while nowadays. This final bit is interesting. There'll be some disappointment in the dressing room, but some players will be unmoved. And there's another tweet. We'll look at that in a bit more detail. But yeah, that's pretty much the storyline. And look, yeah, Brescia's the Chelsea job's come up. He's like, oh yeah, I'll take that. And yeah, decision made. And look, there's nothing we can do about it, sadly. nothing we can do about it. And I was on with Ant last night, and he was saying, look, when Brendan wanted to leave, Leicester gave him a massive contract, and after that, he never seemed to be the same. So maybe it is a blessing in disguise, as Gray said. Yeah, facts, 100%. Because if the talks broke down, I don't think any of us would welcome Enzo back, because he showed that he's not loyal, and obviously there is no loyalty in football these days, of course. But you can't be taking a manager back who's gone very close to just joining us, leaving us, at the first opportunity. So yeah, I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's gone through, and best of luck to him. But I do kind of hope he gets sacked within the first 3 months, because I think it would be funny. But you know what? I think with Enzo at Chelsea, it's either going to go extremely well or awful. No in between. And I'll say it, Chelsea need to give him time, but they're not. So I just can't see it working out for them. But who cares about Chelsea? We are focused on Leicester out here. But yeah, this next bit from the John Percy article is very interesting, to say the least. It's interesting how all this stuff has obviously came out now. But hey, we looked at that bit a minute ago. Maresca was so devoted to his philosophy that at times he could be stubborn. And yeah, I think that was clear to see at times. And it was obviously that meeting, the famous Vardy meeting after Plymouth away. It was a meeting called by senior Leicester players towards the end of the season that helped them over the line. Now, obviously, that is within the opinion of John Percy, but it's interesting the extent of that Vardy interview, what was discussed, because that Southampton game, it wasn't really Enzo ball. It was more kind of soak up the pressure and counter-attack, and we blew them away. And Enzo didn't really like that, but it worked. So was that the players kind of overruling the manager and taking matters into their own hands? Potentially. But yeah, very, very, very interesting. And to be fair, I thought most of the dressing room would be very disappointed, because some of the players have obviously spoken extremely highly of Enzo Maresca, such as Harry Winks. But again, yeah, it is stubborn and dogmatic. So maybe it could be a blessing in disguise. But obviously, it is easy to say that. We're sat here with no manager, a massive points deduction incoming. It's not an ideal situation, is it? But yeah, what can we do? What can Leicester do? We'll definitely get stick when we play Chelsea. Yeah, that's true, and I think he will get stick. But look, if someone's offering you, if Chelsea's offering you a job, it's difficult to turn it down. Enzo isn't a Leicester fan. He doesn't really care too much about us. He's done his job. So, if Enzo stayed for Leicester this season and got relegated, would this opportunity come around? It probably will, because Kompany's gone to Bayern Munich somehow. But you know what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm frustrated, but I want to try and stay level-headed, because I could sit here and slag him off and call him a snake and whatnot, where it's a snaky move, I guess. But I think with a manager, I just think obviously Enzo wants to do the best he can. He was keen on staying in the Premier League. I don't think he expected the Chelsea job to become available. And the only thing I would say with Chelsea, I'm not trying to defend Enzo here, but it's very unstable there. But if you can get it right at Chelsea, the money available is massive, and I don't think it's going to be long before Chelsea are back into the top four, because Pochettino got them playing some good stuff at back end of last season, and that's why I don't get why he was sacked in the first place. But strange, very strange. I think everyone thought De Zerbi was going to go to Chelsea as soon as he left Brighton, but it's weird, very weird. Yeah, we were. Last season was fantastic, and I thank Enzo for that. But I think it is a massive shame for Enzo to go just now, because he's done so well to get us here. You would have thought he would at least wanted to try and just see how it went in the Premier League, but he's gone at the first opportunity. So there we go. There we go, boys and girls. But yeah, just to wrap things up then, if we look at the official Leicester City statement, which is fairly strong to be fair, Usually just say good luck and that's about it. But yeah, given the promising foundations established during his single season in charge, the club is disappointed that Enzo has decided at this stage that he no longer wants to be part of our vision. So fair play to the club. For once, they've delivered a fairly strong statement, and they have done in recent months with the PSR stuff as well. But yeah, I think that's spot on, really. I think that's how the fan base is feeling. Because look, we did so well that season. The infrastructure was there. The players, the system was working well. I think we were all excited for the transfer window to see who could potentially come in, albeit not many players because of financial reasons. But yeah, it just puts Leicester on the back foot. And just right now, all I want is just, can we just have one season where it's just kind of normal? I don't know, because I can't remember the last time we had a season where nothing weird has happened, or something out of the blue, or just anything. Like, it's never plain sailing at Leicester City, is it? Absolutely never. I don't think since I've started supporting them, I don't know. I can't remember a single season. My early seasons were, I think it was 11, 12-ish, 12, 13 time. So since then, it's just been absolute chaos, the Dini moment, and then we got up. Great escape, won the league, Champions League. Vichai passed away. It's like Champions League bottled twice, FA Cup, relegation, Championship. Absolutely, the club's ridiculous. There's no club like it, but I guess that's why we all love it, because the good times are very good. Yeah, I think we all do. If I could take Brendan Rodgers' 2019-20 season after, I'd do it in a heartbeat, to be fair. But that ended on a very sour note, and I don't want to get into Brendan Rodgers, but he should have been long gone before we got relegated. And of course, that relegation was incredibly inevitable. But here we are, back in the Premier League, gone through multiple managers, and be interested to see who we get next. But yeah, absolutely ridiculous. This club is, but obviously Leicester are receiving 10 million, which is the only benefit, I think, of this situation. Through compensation, we'll have to get a new backroom, and I think that's a big negative as well, because I think it goes unnoticed. The backroom staff going tough as well, because look, the players are going to be seeing them probably more than Maresca, and we're going to have to get a new whole load of backroom staff in. Some people will lose their jobs as well. So yeah, it's going to be a big turnaround over the club over the next couple of weeks. But that's why it's so important that Leicester can get someone in the door, signed, new manager, backroom staff coming in as soon as possible. But yeah, Enzo going to Chelsea. You got players like Cole Palmer, Lavia. He's worked with them before. Caballero, of course, used to play for Chelsea as well. So there's more understandable links as well towards it. Just alone without the attractiveness of a top six club in Chelsea. But yeah, there we go, then, boys and girls. If you've got any final comments, any final questions, feel free to let me know. Any type of content you want to see over the next couple of days, make sure to let me know. Tomorrow, I'll probably do a deep dive on another manager if there is any other links. If not, there'll be a keep or sell video coming out over the next couple of days as well, which will be interesting to see. And yeah, I assume that we will get some stronger managerial links over the next couple of days. It's going to be interesting, but I'll make sure to keep you guys updated. Transfer wise, I don't think there'll be too much until we obviously get a manager in. There has been talk of a fullback. I can't remember his name, but there has been talk of one. But yeah, I can't see there being much transfer stuff soon. But yeah, it's massively important. Keep us our live stream or video. I'll probably do a video, but we can discuss it on the live stream as well. But I just wanted to kind of do a short and sharp video going through that. But most of the time, I'll be doing streams, so it's easier. It's less effort as well. But anyway, boys, thank you very much for coming. It's much appreciated. Make sure to drop a like if you haven't already. As I always say, it helps the channel out, helps spread the content out to more and more Leicester City fans. And hopefully you have enjoyed the insight on Carlos Corberan. Just like I said, it took me about 3 hours to look through all the stats and whatnot to try and show you guys as best as possible. So hopefully you have enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you hopefully tomorrow, or at least the day after that. I don't really know what day it is today. I think it's Monday, isn't it? But yeah, I'll see you guys then. Stay safe. Up to Leicester.